Hello, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty, and in today's video, I've got something pretty special for you. I'm going to be going over the team that I used to hit my earliest ever veteran rank achievement in the Go Battle League, featuring a team that I constructed myself that's really just predicated on mon-for-mon RPSing a pretty toxic team of Magcargo, Wigglytuff, and Tropius, which was made to emulate the Open Great League's Bastiodon, Wigglytuff, and Victory Bell team. That being said, if you guys like today's video, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe. The team that we use to hard counter that particular team and hit veteran rank is featured on your screen right now. Shadow Quagsire, Charjabug, and Magnezone, but without keeping you too much longer, let's get into these matches. Kicking things off with game number 1, and we're gonna find a Shadow Girafarig on lead. Now, Quagsire, unfortunately, oftentimes will not win this matchup. Even if you double bait with the Aqua Tail, you're just not going to put out enough damage to KO the Girafarig. They're going to Psychic Fangs, and now these Confusions and future Psychic Fangs are going to start adding up quite a lot. Aqua Tail number 1 is going to get the shield, as they would get KO'd by a Stone Edge. I'm going for Aqua Tail number 2 after not even building up to another Stone Edge, but I am going to get that shield. I'm going to bring in my Magnezone, as all this energy will be resisted onto my Magnezone. And they're going to Psychic Fangs and actually look to preserve the Girafarig for a little bit. They're going to bring in a Wormadam, and honestly, not particularly fond of seeing a Wormadam right now, as when your Charjabug is forced to throw discharges, it's not the most comfortable situation unless you're hitting for super effective damage. They're going to hit me with a Bug Buzz that absolutely blasts my life away, and I had the move, but I thought I could live another Confusion, but I cannot. The silver lining here is that we're going to be able to get a little bit of a farm down with our Magnezone here, but unfortunately, as you're going to see, they have an Oranguru in the back. They're running double normal Psychic, and unfortunately for me, this does not look like it's Mirror Shot range, but we need it to be. Come on, Magnezone, is this Mirror Shot range? It isn't, and we get KO'd by the Confusion. GG's to this trainer. Starting off with an L is never a particularly good feeling, but we're going to pick up a really nice lead, as our Quagsire will lead into a Stunfisk, a Unovan Stunfisk at that. They're going to bring in a Pidgeot safe switch, but that's not looking too safe. I've got a Magnezone on this Pidgeot, and I'm firing off a Mirror Shot bait after getting Feather Danced myself. This allows me to just go for another farm down here, and even if this is a Brave Bird, so be it. I'm happy if it's a Brave Bird. It's a Brave Bird. It does big damage onto us, but that means that this Stunfisk that's going to come in and farm us down is going to get a lot less energy. I'm going to fire off this Wild Charge. Unfortunately, rather not the Wild Charge, I'm going to fire off a Mirror Shot. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get off the 2 moves that I had banked there, but I do get the attack drop, which I think is very important here. Getting this attack drop and getting the alignment that I need is really important, as now my Charjabug doesn't have to see this Pokemon that it has nearly no play against, and my Quagsire can handle all of the incoming damage from the farm down that it got because it's been debuffed. In the back, they have a Mantine. In comes my Charjabug, and I think this trainer is actually going to try to play this out for a little bit. They're going to fire off an Ice Beam. The Ice Beam is not better DPE than going straight Aerial Ace. They're going to fire off another move on alignment here. This is only going to be an Aerial Ace, but we're just going to be able to farm down the Mantine and get that win. GG's. Into game number 3, and Shadow Quagsire is going to find an Azumarill on lead. This isn't a particularly bad lead, but with 2 electric types in the back, I am going to safe switch into my Charjabug in an attempt to lure out their answer to an electric type. Fortunately, Charjabug safe switch is oftentimes also able to lure out a Vigoroth, which my Magnezone doesn't ever want to see. Anyways, we're going to throw a Discharge at the Wormadam, and they're going to build up to a Bug Buzz, so I am going to respect it with a shield, and I get that shield call correct, which is absolutely massive for me. I'm going to now fire off another Discharge, just in an attempt to get rid of this Wormadam, and they're going to bring in a Shadow Girafarig again. This Pokemon is absolutely everywhere. Everyone seems to love it. However, this team seems to have a glaring weakness. Would somebody in the class please raise their hand and tell me what they're about to do to my Shadow Magnezone? Absolutely nothing. They're going to throw a Trailblaze at my Quagsire. I get absolutely blasted, but for very good reason. They're only going to be able to reach a Psychic Fangs here, but I am going to shield it up, as the Azu only has 1 bubble's worth of energy. And if I can double up on Wild Charges here, the Azu's dead. Back in comes the Azumarill, but now I am double cheeked up on a Thursday morning. We're going to fire off a Wild Charge. It one-shots the Azu. GG's to this trainer. Spice levels are peaking in our next game as Quagsire is going to lead into a Heatran. Heatran realizes that's a terrible matchup and ducks out immediately into their Jellicent safe switch, but that's just met with a Charjabug who absolutely dominates this matchup. They're going to fire off a move, but the good thing about Charjabug in this matchup is we can just farm them into a range where one discharge will KO. I'm now doubled up on discharges, not a whole lot of point in shielding, and they will not. So they are going to give up switch advantage and preserve 2 shields. They're going to bring back into Heatran. However, I have switch advantage, and we're just going to fire off a discharge, getting about 50% HP onto the Heatran. Heatran is going to be able to reach a move, but from 50% HP, it is in farm down range for the Quagsire. They're going to switch into their Poliwrath, and I'm just going to bring in my Magnezone here. It has no play anywhere else. I'm just looking to try to get some damage off on it. I'm going to fire off a Mirror Shot. They have to shield this, otherwise they will just instantaneously lose the game if they get the wrong call on a Mirror Shot bait. So they are going to put up a shield. We get shield advantage. They're going to Icy Wind. I'm going to build up a little more energy and accidentally CMP the Poliwrath. This is not looking too good. Icy Wind is going to drop my attack now 2 stages. I'm going to fire off the Stone Edge, and they no shield the Stone Edge, which is really nice for me. I'm going to build up to 2 Aqua Tails, fire off one Aqua Tail is not going to be able to get the job done as they have a shield. So we wait a turn, make sure the Heatran didn't sneak in, and we are going to be able to get this Aqua Tail off onto the Poliwrath, KOing. Heatran doesn't have a move and will not be able to farm down first. GG's to this trainer. Pretty common lead that I'm surprised we haven't seen sooner in Vigoroth in our next game. I'm going to immediately safe switch into Charjabug to see if they have a harder response to Charjabug or if they want to play this out with their Vigoroth. Vigoroth is kind of a menace. The rest of my team doesn't really want to see it, especially not my Magnezone. So they are going to fire off what could potentially be a bait here, so I call it. It wouldn't KO regardless. We are going to fire off an X-Scissor here. An X-Scissor will pick up a KO if they do not commit a shield. They are going to commit a shield. They had the move. They lost CMP. Attack-weighted Charjabug can, in some instances, win CMP over the Vigoroth, which is the reason why we run it. Nevertheless, we are going to fire off this X-Scissor. This one will be enough to KO as well. They're going to let it through and give us switch advantage. In comes Cradily. We're 2 volt switches away and we're able to make a last second move. This is massive for me. We're going to get this X-Scissor off and they're going to be able to Bullet Seed down, but now all that energy is just going to be walled by the Magnezone. Well, I guess walled is a pretty strong word because Magnezone is not going to look like a wall to this energy. That Grass Knot does nearly 50% damage. That is a resisted move. Be very careful when running Magnezone, as this is a pretty common trend with it. Nevertheless, we're going to bank double Mirror Shot. Double Mirror Shot is going to be enough to KO the Cradily, and we're just going to fire off the next one instantaneously. Second Mirror Shot will get the KO. And in the back, they have a Toxapex, and they know that this game is over. I would reach the Wild Charge, and Toxapex would get blasted. GG's to this trainer. Another game, and another Vigoroth lead. I'm going to play this out the same way. I need to draw out a potential better answer to Charjabug, because it does share weaknesses in this meta to Magnezone. So I'm using it as a bait, but they are going to stay in here and fire off a Body Slam, which gets called. That now means they're going to need another move to KO, and another Body Slam won't do the trick either. I'm going to fire off 2 X-Scissors. 2 X-Scissors will be enough to KO here. So if they don't commit a shield, they will lose switch advantage. They are going to fire off another move here. I'm calling this one as well. You need to Body Slam me to KO. Unfortunately, I will get farm down, so they do get a little bit of extra farm, but I am just going to bring in my Quag and no shield farm down this Vigoroth. They are not looking to have that, so I'm going to build up to the Stone Edge and fire it off onto their Charjabug. Incoming Charjabug does not want any of the smoke with the Quagsire. They're going to put up a shield, and now I can just put up a shield, Stone Edge again, and this Charjabug's dead. They are going to fire off another move. Am I going to commit my final shield on this Quagsire? Yes, I am. Looks like I'm going to go for a little bit more of a farm down. This is alignment, but I would have gone over 100 energy anyway if I decided to keep farming, so it doesn't necessarily matter that much there. Just make sure that we get that move off before they're able to reach one of their own. Back in comes the Vigoroth. Vigoroth is going to get KO'd by the Aqua Tail as they no longer have any shields. I'm bringing in my Magnezone, spamming my Magnezone button, and there's another Toxapex and another top left. GG's to this trainer. It was at this point that I realized, wow, that was a 5-0 set with this team. I made this team as a joke. Nevertheless, we are going to claim our rewards and get boosted all the way from 2317 elo to 2390 elo at this time. final game of the video, and Shadow Quagsire is going to lead into a Greninja. With 2 electric types in the back, I have to attempt to bait something out, so they do have a Skeleturge in the back. I am going to, of course, safe switch into my Charjabug as it's the safer of my 2 Pokemon, and we're going to fire off a Discharge, which does do solid damage onto the Skeleturge, and they are actually forced to throw this energy. If they don't, they would actually end up having to commit a shield in this matchup, which would be kind of embarrassing for them. They're going to be able to make a Shadow Ball here, and I am going to actually respect this, as I feel as if my Quagsire is a little bit important right now. I am going to be able to get the farm down onto the Skeleturge, and in comes the Greninja again. I'm going to throw 1 Mud Shot and go for an Aqua Tail bait. How are we going to be able to get the shield? We are able to get the shield, and they do have a move. I'm going to put up no shield here. They're going to Hydro Cannon, and it does a lot of damage. Now I'm going to force either their final shield or big damage onto the Greninja with the Stone Edge. I am able to grab that last shield, and the Greninja is able to reach another move. This is very good for our Hero Magnezone here. They know that they're about to get farmed down. It looks like they left with a bit of energy, and they're going to bring in a Toxapex. They do catch my Mirror Shot, but that's perfectly fine, as we're just going to be able to bank a boatload of energy, and if we leave with 2 Wild Charges here, we will be able to just win the game. So we get the 2 Wild Charges. Wild Charge number 1 is going to delete the Toxapex, and Wild Charge number 2, I'm pretty sure the entire Greninja population has been wiped out from this second Wild Charge. GG's for this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And final thoughts on the team. I actually think this team was shockingly good. And that is no pun intended, because it is a double electric line. However, this team far exceeded my expectations. This was supposed to be a meme video about me hoping that I can find the silly Magcargo team, which, by the way, I did not encounter. Not only the Magcargo team, I didn't encounter a single Magcargo or Tropius in the entirety of running this team. So, I mean, we ran this team to try to RPS it and found 0 of those teams. So a little unfortunate, but I am still a big believer in this team, especially in these last 2 days. The meta, it seems, have shifted into a very water centralized meta, and I think that this is a team that just really beats those teams very well. So if you do have the pieces to make it work, I strongly recommend that you give it a run, and let me know how it goes for you. With that being said, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.